showtime.
Good morning, Vietnam! Welcome to the party, pal!
See you at the party, Richter! I didn't kill my wife!
I don't care!
Get away from her, you bitch!
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
You did not going to say that, did you?
What I do have are a very particular set of skills.
To do the binds.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Inconceivable!
Little Dallas multipass.
This is a tasty burger.
Face.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I'm the bad guy?
And Hulk. Smash.
I can speak with an English accent.
Hit the hash pipe and join the National Guard. I could be elected president.
You went over my helmet?
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
I know, right?
The list is in the open!
Hey, where are the white women at?
They're digging in the wrong place.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Are you not entertained?
Second start of the ride. And straight on till morning.
Meow.
You son of a bitch.
21 gigawatts!
Wax on, wax off.
Oh my goodness, I am sporting a tremendous Woody right now.
Bartender is the aristocrat of the working class.
You want to flip 6 3-hole play and you could score.
Cover me.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
On this team, we fight for that itch.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
No ticket.
No ticket.
I get older, they stay the same age.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. He's 15.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy podcast. I am your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. Oh, my feelings. How are you, sir?
Doing good, buddy.
Ooh, sultry sound. What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, come back to us, and we break it down for you. There, I've said it. Let's continue. This month,
we spin it all around.
No spinning all around. Shut up. No, there's no spinning here. Now you gotten thrown a monkey wrench in the whole business. Anyway, this is February. This is the 1st of February, and we start a new month. And this month, we will be covering a Robert Zemeckis films. Now, most of them, I would say, are not the more known or the more popular one, but we do have a little nugget for you at the end of the month.
I would say most, given box office, they all did pretty well.
No. I'm not saying they're not popular. I'm not saying they didn't make any money. But if you compare today's movie with Forrest Gump, if you compare it to Roger Rabbit, if you compare it to the big ones, let's just say this. Which do you remember more, Contact or Forrest Gump? I will leave that question hanging. Anyway, today's movie is going to be Death Becomes Her, which I have seen... Not in the theater. I think I've seen it only on VHS rentals back in the mid 90s, I think.
Yeah, I definitely did not see it in theaters. I saw it. My parents actually rented it. And again, my parents were very just like, he can handle it. It's fine. I mean, he's only 9 years old. It's fine.
It's a movie that I didn't really think about it too much. I didn't specifically liked it or didn't like it. I threw it in the same bucket as another one of those Meryl Streep movies where she basically kind of probably playing herself, but turned out to 11 or 12. I would put that in the same bucket as She-Devil, which was a 1989 movie, roughly around the same spot.
Roseanne Barr, right?
That was Roseanne Barr, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
And she had kind of the same where she ended up stealing all the men right?
Yeah, it's sort of the same thing but different. Where if you put Roseanne Barr in the Helen role, in the Goldie Hawn role, but with a very different outcome, but a very let's just say a very similar start, and it's sort of reminiscent. Like if you haven't seen She Devil, that won't bring anything to the fold.
I think I
But if
have
you
seen
have,
that. I think I've seen it once before, but I always conflate that with Devil in the Blue Dress.
interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. But if you put side by side, just talk about the scenes in general and not go into the specific. It has a very unique and similar structure, but only in the first third of the movie. And then it just splits off into two different directions where the Roseanne Barr one, the She Devil one, becomes a revenge movie, but a smart revenge movie. And that becomes
well
weird. Really weird.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about all of that. But I found that really, really interesting. All right. So I see there's a few people trickling in, but nobody's talking. That's fine. All you lurkers out there, we love you. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. Let us begin at the beginning with a little segment we called Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we turn to all my feelings and get the lowdown on everything behind the scenes, production-wise, all of that stuff. And a little something of a nugget from me too, just in case. All right.
There's going to be, again, as always, more when we discuss the actual scenes.
Okay.
But from what we have to start off with, first off, at the time, it was a groundbreaking film for multiple reasons. But the budget in itself, 55 million, was high for a very, very, very dark comedy. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the star power clearly paid off because it returned on investment almost triple its budget at 149 million. I mean, that's a good chunk of change coming back. Yeah. And given the fact that they also did not market this movie almost at all.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
What's interesting is even in the trailers, we'll start with the marketing bit for trailers. So we talked about how this is a month specifically for a particular director.
Yes.
He was also one of the major producers of the remake of Tales from the Crypt.
All right.
Originally, this was supposed to be a sequel from the Tales from the Crypt movie from 1979.
Interesting.
And it was going to be a full-length film that was going to be a side story based on one of the comic book actual stories.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't see. I knew that there was a connection between Robert Zemeckis and Tales from the Crypt. I just didn't know it was supposed to be a sequel. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was inspired from like when the show kind of was in the late 80s, kind of getting back on its feet.
Getting there.
Okay.
Getting there.
I'm not going to intrude.
So, actually, then when it was actually taken down as a concept that Zemeckis didn't want to actually further work upon, when the entire series got rebooted, he was one of the major EPs on the reboot.
Okay.
And HBO, like, because he loved Tales from the Crypt, like he loved the actual comic books and everything, and he also loved Creepshow, which is kind of it's the same thing essentially.
I get it. But shall we do Creepshow this year?
Oh, Creepshow would be a lot of fun to do. Depends on which Creepshow, though. Yeah.
Put a pin in that. By the way, guys, if you're watching live or if you're watching on the replay and you made it so far, if you want Creepshow, put it in the comments down below. It's like, cool, Creepshow. Which one? Tell us which one.
That's actually interesting. And for October, we could do horror anthologies instead, because we could do the original Tales from the Crypt, Creepshow, and then there's one from the mid-90s that was all about black horror comedy.
Wait. Tell us in the comments section.
Yeah. Completely forget the name of it now. Paul's not here. Where's Paul?
I don't know. He's probably here somewhere. Let's go.
Anyway, so given his love for that, in the trailer, the marketing trailer, the actual theme song from the 1980s, Tales from the Crypt by Danny Elfman, was used in the trailer. He bought the rights to it to use it. So yeah, they're very interconnected that way.
Okay.
So one of the most notable things about the movie, before we get to casting and stuff, is that this is the first film to ever utilize CGI skin textures. Ever.
Really?
Yeah. Ever.
Wow.
It's like it's in its own way, it's a groundbreaking film. And this also helped ILM pioneer multiple techniques that they used directly after the next project they worked on. A little film called
Jurassic Park.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is, if I remember correctly, when I was a kid, and I think I told you this before back in the day, we got the movie about a month or a month and a half after it actually came out over here. It could have even been like a couple of months. So what we got as a sort of a promotional material was not actually the trailer, but we got the behind the scenes, how did they make it thing to pump up the movie. They didn't go too much into the story, so you wouldn't get all the details of all the spoilers, but you did get a lot of technical stuff, which I used to love watching. And they talked about how they did the transfer between the CGI dinosaurs into the practical dinosaurs. And one of the things they mentioned was the skins.
Yeah.
Very important. All right, keep going. Keep going.
On the same Jurassic Park note, both films actually had the same cinematographer.
Okay, cool.
Dean Cudney. And also the production designer, which is so interesting is that when Zemeckis was actually starting to film, he would utilize the line on set during the entire filming of Death Becomes Her was, "Hold on to your butts." That's where that line came from.
From Samuel L. Jackson?
Yep.
So what Zemeckis was just running around on the set of Death Becomes Her and just saying, "Hold on to your butts"?
No, for big action scenes or big pieces.
Okay.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah. Okay. I got the context now. Okay. Keep going. Okay.
It's super fun. So speaking of all of the other context, let's go back to casting stuff. So Kevin Kline first was supposed to play Ernest, and he had already been cast, and he was set to actually be on set, but he had to drop out because he was still in a payment dispute with the studio over his previous project.
A Fish Called Wanda?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it goes back to 89, but damn.
So Nick Nolte and Jeff Bridges were brought in to audition. It was a flat out no for Nick, which good. It only would have been worse if it was like, oh yeah, let's put Gary Busey in the role. Nah, not gonna.
The emotional range of Gary Busey.
Yes. And Jeff Bridges was also declined, and then Bruce Willis was cast. And what's so interesting is that Bruce Willis apparently loved being on a comedy set, like a comedy shoot set, so much because he loves this. He would show up at 5 a.m. an hour before shooting because he was excited to be on set and shoot.
Oh,
which
man.
is, come on, you have to at least just appreciate that. The man had already made major blockbuster films, and he's just like giddy as a little kid. Like,
do you understand? This is why there's a lot of criticism about Hudson Hawk and how like silly and stupid Bruce Willis is in it. He's probably closer to who he was, at least back then. I know he became way more serious later on in life, and his only outlets was like his jazz rock band, or if they actually did cast him into a comedy or a dark comedy. That's why the freaking the one that he did with Matthew Perry, was dumb as hell.
God. I can't
But Bruce Willis said he had a lot of fun doing, like, making the stuff. So yeah. Oh, hello, Juliet. Good evening to you too. Juliet is on our side of the Atlantic, by the way.
So what we could talk about different actors and how they thought of the film.
Okay.
Meryl Streep notably hated working on the movie.
Yeah, especially the CGI bits.
Because it was all special effects oriented, and it, apparently she said it felt like I was sitting around waiting in a dentist's office. Like, wow.
It's weird because when you see like interviews with people who did the MCU films, they kind of say the same thing.
Yeah.
But they're not allowed to go too far to reveal all the secrets because they didn't really like making those, apart from having to like play off each other because they want to act. But yeah.
So and she actually had vowed to never work on another film reliant on special effects ever again after she made this movie. But
I don't think she ever did as well.
No, she didn't. What was interesting too is when she was asked, like, then why'd you take the role? Because it was literally the role that was almost written for me. It was perfect for me.
See, I told you it's her just dialed into 11.
A little bit. Just that's all it is. That's all it is. It's just Spinal Tap. We turn it to 11. That's all.
Yeah.
So speaking of some other interesting things, there were a lot of scenes that were cut. And I'm sure that you have some of them.
Yeah. Do you want to wait until the ending? It's basically the most significant one was the ending.
The ending, yes.
Yes. An actress called Tracy Ullman had back in the day. I think she was on the Tracy Ullman show in 92, right? 92?
No, Tracy Ullman ran from, was it 88 to 92?
Yeah,
because that was actually where The Simpsons actually first premiered, was on the Tracy Ullman show. Yeah.
That's exactly. So she had a sketch show, basically, and she was a hot commodity back then, so she was cast to being his second stage, third stage. I don't know what you're going to call it because it's the first relationship was with Helen, but he wasn't married. So the first marriage was actually with
they were engaged, and then he married Madeline.
He married Madeline, and the second stage, basically the second marriage, where he got to fulfill his like lifelong dreams and helping each other and all that stuff. That's supposedly with Tracy Ullman, but when they showed it to a crowd, the audience absolutely detested that ending.
They hated it because it was a very different sort of ending, but it ended in the same way as well, where it has basically Helen and Madeline falling apart because they end up getting hit by a car and then blowing up into pieces.
It didn't fit with it wasn't comedic enough.
That's it didn't.
So they went in with reshoots, but it wasn't long because they did have to tweak the ending a little bit. They had the Tracy Ullman ending, and I think she was there for the trailer. She was in the trailer.
She's in the trailer, and also the scene that was another scene that was cut was Madeline talking to her agent.
Yeah, but it's a brief little scene. I think it's about 20 seconds, maybe 25
it's still
seconds.
But it's actually in the trailer. That's the most important thing.
It made it to the
also
trailer.
There's a snippet of them actually talking to each other. So it's still
cool.
Just minor little things where it's like, these are notably things that are in the trailer that people didn't see when they saw the film. So that's a little odd, but okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, cool.
So
anything else?
One other thing is the film had one of, if not the most disastrous first releases on DVD of all time.
Ooh, really?
Do you know why?
Really? Probably a wrong date of a printing or whatever.
No, the transfer of it was so poor. There's actual bits where film grain cuts in. Scenes drop audio, pick up audio, boom audio, then dip audio. Things go completely black, then fade, like burn in.
Was that on the home video?
That was on the DVD.
The DVD. Wow,
Yeah.
that came in like later.
Yeah, so that's why like it has one of like the worst DVD first releases of all time. And a lot of people speculate that maybe this was due to they were trying to up-res the Laserdisc version, or they had some kind of off copy that from the original like 8mm, 48mm. They're trying to superimpose it, which does not work at all. So, yeah.
Juliet with the facts.
Yeah,
87 to 90. I think Tracy Ullman was up to like 94, 95, maybe even 96. She was, because of that show, she was placed in different movies. Never got big too much.
Never got big. There are a lot of female comedians that, especially like in the early like SNL cast, that were phenomenal, but never like Rita. I mean,
Rita and Deborah, Whoopi Goldberg. No, just kidding. Just joking. Cool.
Well, Jane Lynch, who only got like several like really good comedy roles, but other than that, like
yeah.
The other thing
if you want.
I did want to mention it was just, I know we're going to talk about because the party scenes real quick, but originally there were going to be many more actual living celebrities, not just lookalikes in that.
Yeah, they hinted about something that made a connection in my head that was weird. Do you know in Men in Black, they say all the dead celebrities that we thought were dead they got back to their planets?
Yeah.
It's sort of, you get the same thing with this where
but it was really like, it was Chagall going, well, you're supposed to fake your death. You're not supposed to show up. We're not talking about anybody here. And Elvis in the background. What? I just wanted to have some fun.
Yeah. You had that moment, and you had the moment where Lascelles is trying to convince Madeline to drink. And she says, well, I had many clients. One of them is always kept saying, I want to be alone. And it kind of is like, if you don't know what she's talking about, it's fine. But it gets Madeline going. But if you do, spoiler alert, it's Marilyn Monroe.
And she's there. She is
there at the show. Who's there? What's his name? The guy who got car crashed.
No, that's so beautiful. It's at the end. It's actually it's the same model of car that James Dean died in.
Yes.
That Ernest ends up stealing to drive off. And also Jim Morrison. They're like, "Are you guys done yet?" I admit though, that's pretty cool.
And if you notice, he steals it. There's the valet, and the guy standing next to the valet is wearing a tuxedo. You only see him from the back, but he has the same hairdo as James Dean.
No, because he turns around and he looks exactly like
James Dean. He turns around and you see the profile, but not the full guy. But yeah, it's sort of like these tiny little bits, to me, kind of connected into Men in Black. Not because it's the same thing, but it's the same thing with a little bit of a twist. It's all those sort of Hollywood tragedies or music tragedies. There was they were taken too soon. Basically, they ruined their lives.
Which you know right now, if this were be remade right now, there would be a Kurt Cobain, there would be an Winehouse in there. Yeah.
I kind of hoped Kurt Cobain would make it to Beetlejuice as one of the guys who's sitting in the fucking room. That could have been great, but
I was going to say, originally, though, living celebrities were going to be there, such as George Harrison, who was alive at the time.
Yes.
And Dick Clark, who was alive at the time. But also really ancient.
Yeah, but they died recently, so you're gonna have to wait like 10 more years until you can make. It's not a joke, but you can make a movie that kind of touch upon that. Plus,
well,
you have
no,
to
no,
do it
they
real
didn't touch upon
subtly.
that they died, but when it was released, they were still active celebrities. So it's like, oh, that's why they look so. Oh,
Yeah. All right, cool. Do you want to start or you want to do the game? We'll do the game. We'll do the game. I haven't seen Paul yet, but he might show up as soon as we start. So let's start with our first game of the night before we dive into the movie. It is called Missing Marquee. You know what? We've got a long movie. Do you want to do a lightning round and see how you stand?
Yep, there's Paul. All right, yeah, let's see if we can do a lightning round.
Wait a minute, I am summoned.
Paul is like the devil. Say his name.
No, he's not the devil. Don't scare away people.
That's what it was. No, we said Paul 3 times. He's like Beetlejuice, so he just showed up.
All right, cool. No lightning round for you. DK Royce is in the house too. DK Royce is in the house. We've got some company here, so let us share screen.
I'll just say if I got it.
Yeah, you probably got all of them, to be honest.
Okay. Shoot.
All right, cool. Chat, you've got it. This is not a lightning round. It's all up to you. By the way, Juliet has called one of them last week. So Juliet, you go for it. Go for it. Penny, you too.
Paul's got it.
It is Arrival. Nice. Very good. Very good.
Got it.
I know you've got all of them, dude. My wife really loves this movie.
It's actually not a bad film.
It's not. I've seen it many, 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 many times. Mostly not by myself. I mean, I can't knock it. It's a good movie. It's a good, like, sort of, procedural lawyer shit, but with more tits, I guess.
Yeah.
Aaron Brockovich.
Got it.
Are you sure you got it?
Yep.
Okay. This one is a special one. This specifically was my first Van Damme movie.
Really? All right.
Yeah. I've seen it before. I've seen Bloodsports.
Yeah, mine was Bloodsport. Then I saw Double Impact. Then this one.
Double Impact is him and himself. Right?
Yeah. And
the other Impact is him with Dennis Rodman.
Correct.
Kickboxer is correct.
That's the first one too.
No, Bloodsports is the first.
No, that's the first Kickboxer, not because there
I
are
haven't
multiple
seen
sequels of Kickboxer.
I have not seen any of them.
Got it.
Yeah. This movie bombed hard.
This is the one that's only 4 letters, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I avoided it for a while, and then I watched it, and then I understood
movie.
why I avoided it. It's a shame, really, because Kevin Spacey does a great job. The script is awful.
Yep.
The script is just terrible. I don't even remember the ending. Did he get back home? Or was he crazy? I don't even remember.
I think he was just crazy.
I genuinely don't remember. I've seen this movie once. It was like beyond everything. A movie can be good and a movie can be bad. If it's boring, it's beyond bad for me because I wasn't even interested in it.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling it. What is the movie?
K-Pax.
K-Pax is correct.
Oh God, I really want to talk about this movie at some point in time.
We will. We have 2 months to fill, remember? We've got more than 2 months to fill, but we need a good theme for it. This California with a K.
Got it.
DK Royce.
Yep.
And Paul Harley guys got it. Natural Born Killers. We will talk about it this year, I think.
Oh God, this movie is so bad.
You know what? Not a lot of people have seen it. I don't know if it's because of Jim Caviezel, even though, I don't know, it was back then, so I don't know.
Also, Jim Caviezel with the Conan sword. It looks ridiculous.
I know. Again, seen this movie once. It's not boring, but it's stupid. People don't know. What is this movie? You forgot the name? It's fine.
No, it's not 10,000 BC.
No, it's not 10,000 BC. No.
No, they lost it then.
All right. Chat doesn't know. It is Outlander.
Outlander, that's right.
Not the show Outlander, which is a little bit better than a movie.
Now, this is an Edward Norton film that is very, very, very underrated. And also, John Malkovich is fantastic.
John Malkovich is so good in it.
And same with Matt Damon.
Yeah. Matt Damon is great.
I know. I got him. You know how I got him? It's the Oreos.
It's the Oreos.
Rounders.
It is Rounders.
Such a good fucking movie. Oh, come on.
Everybody should know this.
Mrs. Roberts.
I mean,
come on.
You're trying to seduce me?
Little Dusty Hoffman. Aw.
Yeah.
And it still has one of those best scenes at the end where they both, where they're on the bus with each other, like, now what?
Yeah, fuck, now what? The Graduate is correct.
Now, this is the first one of the series, I believe.
I think this is the Korean version. I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm thinking of The Mask. I'm thinking of...
No, it's not The Mask. I think Paul's got it.
With The Mask, the Purge. I was thinking, was it The Purge 1, The Purge 2, or The Purge 3?
The first one.
Yeah, okay.
First one. Am I not mistaken? This is a Korean movie? The Purge?
No. Nope.
Okay. My bad. I've not seen it.
Same kind of concept, but no.
Isn't it like The Raid?
No. The Purge is all about essentially one day of the year, every crime is legal. So go nuts.
It is not The English Patient. The English Patient does not have Kate in it. Not that I remember.
Nope, Kate Winslet's not in that one. Mm-mm.
Do you know?
This one I don't know.
It's a later one. She is supposed to be older than what she really is. She is naked in it a lot.
Kate Winslet does that a lot.
Well, in this one, she is a lot. This is The Reader. And that is
I definitely had never seen it then. Nope.
Oh, is where
he just got it. But
Becky's got it. The Reader.
No, I've actually never seen that one.
She's if I remember correctly, because I've seen it back when it came out, she's a Nazi, but she's hiding and she sleeps with a very young student. And I think he finds out about it, but he really loves her and he wants to help her out. I think that's the story. Again,
so is this a whole thing with Liam Neeson and Nazis again?
No, not really. Not really.
Buddy, you've already said this before. Stop it.
Stop. He has a particular set of skills. See, Becky said it again. It's a great movie, but I've only seen it once. How great is it?
Well, Becky, I'll have to give it a view then. Maybe one of those, again, as we've discussed, one and done sort of films.
Definitely one and done.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So apparently I've booted up Mamma Mia. No, I'm just joking. So the movie kind of starts with this.
You have to love just the condemnation of people walking out of the show as well.
Yeah.
And then in getting up during one of the major musical performances in a musical. Like it's great.
We have to mention this. This movie has become a massive gay icon movie.
Huge in the gay community.
Yeah. When I heard it was because I haven't seen the movie in a while. Like a lot of the movies that I have seen, but we cover, so I have to get back to them. And of course, when you get back to a movie after you haven't seen it for a while, you pick up on things that you didn't pick up before because either you think about it critically or you just, on the second, fifth, 50th viewing, you're like, oh, I see the connections here.
Yeah.
I've never heard that this movie was a big thing in the gay community. And I was like, really? There's no stuff in this. So there's nothing to point blank saying, oh, this is it. And to be fair,
well, do you want to know why?
I understand why, but I can't say it on YouTube. We'll call it, generally speaking, celebrity culture and vanity. Which
it's also that ties back to old Hollywood and the twists on it, and the fact that it's overly campy. It really is. Like the camp is turned up to.
Yeah, the campiness. I
get.
They
broke the knob when it comes to camp and on some of this stuff.
I do get it. I do get the old Hollywood, and there's a lot of connections between like idolizing old Hollywood and the drag community. Especially like early 2000s drag community where they like Madonna was an icon and Marilyn Monroe and all the heavy blondes that died in Hollywood kind of connection that they had. That's the thing. And I was like, it's so obvious to me now. Why is it such a big iconic thing for the gay community? And I was like, okay, I get it.
Well, to be fair, it also opens up with a musical number where it's like,
well,
yeah,
that's a bit cliche. I wanted to look past the whole fact that it starts
a musical number that is basically like every drag queen would love to have it be their song, because with how like listen to the lyrics where it's like, oh no, you're an inspiration for another generation.
Yeah, to me, once rewatching this and was like, oh, this is real obvious, but in 1992, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, really can't get that much.
After the 2000s, where everything becomes so a lot more, first of all, it became open and more acceptable until it went off the rails.
Well, that and also they made a musical out of it too.
Yeah, I only saw 2024, and I don't think it's that recent, right?
It's one of it. Yeah, it is. Well, one of the original sequences was, but what's interesting too is, just as an aside, Meryl Streep actually wrote and sent a bouquet of roses to the actress who's playing Madeline in the Broadway musical.
Nice.
You know what it says? Break a leg or I'll break it for you. It's like,
that's really Meryl Streep of her. Let's just say that.
Well, it's also in kind of character for Madeline to say. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Goldie Hawn is older than Meryl Streep. I know that once they get to their final form, Helen is supposed to be 50. And Goldie Hawn was 46 at the time. I think she was even older than Meryl Streep back in the day.
I think so.
But Meryl Streep always looked old to me. Now, I don't mean old as in decrepit old, as in she looked older than she really was. But then she kind of stopped, whether it's real good shellacking or a real plastic surgeon or not. In The Devil Wears Prada, she looks just as good as she is in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, she looks great. So whatever it was,
it worked.
I'm pretty sure it's not a potion.
I was going to say one thing that's very, very funny that is very interesting. The side eye that Leslie gives Madeline when the potion, like, guess my age, when she says 39, the direct reaction of Isabella Rossellini is one of condemnation, because Isabella Rossellini was 38.
Oh,
So, oh, you bitch.
See,
Oh, you
that's-
bitch.
that's what I was saying. There's still behind the scenes a lot of this vanity for actors, especially actresses, because Hollywood is such a big grinder, especially for women, because they get the youth plays a lot a lot bigger when it comes to Hollywood, and then quickly discarded as soon as you hit the proverbial wall.
Well,
whether or not
especially
you
like,
do look
well,
bad or not.
What's interesting too is they have the kind of reverse thing too, where if you're a teenager, you're going to play in your mid-20s. When you're in your mid-20s, you're going to play a teenager, and then when you hit your 30s, you're going to be 40.
Yeah, which, to be fair, is unfair. And I will bring up one thing that I found really funny with that context. I recently seen The Substance. The review's on the channel if you like. If you haven't seen the movie, you can go and watch. Shut up. But I found, and I told you this backstage, I found a lot of parallels between the subject of The Substance and the subject of this movie, because in both of them, it's aging Hollywood actresses trying to capture their youth, and they're doing it with a special potion. And from there, the substance in this movie kind of diverge into two really different things.
Very much.
But
so,
I found really interesting that Margaret Qualley, who plays, I don't want to say what, but she is young in that movie. She looks young. She plays young. She's 30, and she looks great for 30. Let's just say that. Anyway, back to here.
That's a high bar.
It's not, but the perception in Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
is
the
that
perception.
30, you've reached that
30.
3
You've
number.
already peaked, because again, as we talked about in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, when we had the two characters, well, we had our titular main character and love interest at the bar. Well, she's 35. She should have realized she should give up. But anyway, so we have the whole bit where we have the backstory of essentially how Madeline always steals Helen's paramours in order to basically as a slight to her.
Paramours is a good word. Boyfriends is a better word. She
Well,
steals her
they're
boyfriends since they were young. That's
they were
the
different
point.
stages, because Ernest and Helen were engaged. So
Yes. But Ernest is the only guy, it seems like he's the only guy in the theater, and that includes Helen, that really liked Madeline's performance. He was
he's the only person in the entire theater, not just the guy, only person was like, yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah. And then it carries on when she goes into that dressing room, and there's a point there that I saw is in somebody breaking this down. I saw I think it was a Joe Blow video or something, and he said it's really strange and really forthcoming that one of them addresses the other one with a very specific name. Helen addresses Madeline as Mad.
Oh,
and
Mad, hell, and then madder than hell. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
madder than hell. And it's sort of like profound kind of a thing. And I thought, well, yeah, but only if Lascelles is being sort of unveiled as the devil, which she wasn't, but she kind of was.
But there is a point where we're going to skip forward and then we'll skip back. The scene with the knife scene with Ernest, when she cuts his finger, they do the whole drop test where it heals his wound and it makes his hand appear young again. And he says, "Oh my God." And she says, "Thank you."
Yes. Yeah.
And to be fair, Isabella Rossellini looks fantastic.
Yeah, she looks fantastic.
And well, we'll talk about the pool scene and how it wasn't her either.
Yeah.
Pool scene.
That's
in
coming some moments. And to be fair, let's just continue with the actual movie. So Ernest marries Madeline. They have that whole wedding thing,
which is great too, because there was always the setup right before the payoff instantly, and then there's the setup of the craziness that ensues.
Yeah, that's where I was going for.
But so, like, I swear, if you leave me, I don't know what I'll do. I think I'll lose it. And
he leaves, and you hear the wedding bells. He marries Madeline, and was like, "Oh, you fucker. Sorry. And of course, Helen with the big ass, and 7 years later.
And that's also
the
where so like it was only a dinner. I have absolutely no interest to her. And Zemeckis' perfect timing cut to wedding bells.
It's
great.
So good, and the editing
really
is real good. And then of course she gets evicted. She goes into this mental asylum where she
watched the same Madeline film over and over and over again where she's dying just to watch her die.
Yeah, and when she's in the group, she keeps on and on and on, keeps talking about Madeline when she's like,
and she said it so much that people freak the fuck out. Which is like, I want to talk about Madeline. No. And it was one of the actresses in that too.
Deborah Jo Rupp. I recognize her.
Yeah,
that was like, oh, you're in this.
Oh, that's funny. But then she had the whole thing where the head of the psych ward group tells her that listen, you have to completely eliminate her from your mind. And all that Helen gets is
you have to eliminate her.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And of course, the juxtaposition of then probably Ernest and Madeline have a fairy tale ending. Oh no, they're in deep doo-doo too, because Madeline is still chasing the youth, and
it was the same assistant Rose who was backstage with her at the show in 1978.
Yeah, and I love the fact that she brings him a Bloody Mary. He drinks a little bit, and he's like, ugh, more vodka.
And then also he looks over like, is it up yet?
Yeah, they don't call her a she. They call her an it, which is the most degrading thing ever because she's a monster. And a monster is always it. And the fact that we were told without being told that he kind of lost his practice and he is relegated to be a makeup artist when
what he
big
really
shot
is,
celebrities.
He's a mortician. They say he's an undertaker. That they're completely different things.
Well, the whole point is he goes into clients that recently died, and they're so vain they have to look great in the casket.
And they're also more high profile as well.
Yeah.
The actor here, he's like, yeah, he died having sex with his 19-year-old fiance in the hot tub. We can't get the smile off his face.
Yeah. And to me, that only speaks to the same kind of thing as the substance. I'm not going to bring it too many times. I know you dislike it. The whole vanity part, the whole what we think of Hollywood is, and Zemeckis we'll call it on the down low, kind of is recognizing that whole Hollywood chasing the youth thing, the disposable nature of celebrities, and how vain they can actually be. And it's not just Madeline, it's also Helen, because she is so far gone into crazy land. She's also willing to do things not to capture the youth, but to have a revenge. So her transformation to being this gorgeous, immortal being is just to make sure that Madeline dies.
Which, again, there's a lot of backstory that I really want to know. Like, did she have to lose all the weight first, then take the potion in order? Or would she just take the potion, then she would just immediately lose all the weight and become her best self?
Maybe.
And we'll talk more about Madeline's transformation once she does. But
we'll get to that in a minute. I want to get to that because I think those big moments are the most interesting bits in the movie itself. So Madeline, after she went through something, she goes back into the same spa and she asks for the same treatment. And the girl there is like, our policy is you're not allowed to have this procedure. I don't remember what it was. You're not allowed to have this procedure.
Once every 3 months or something? But
no, once every 6 months. It's like, you've been here 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We simply can't do it.
Side note, I'm sorry. I think her name is Michelle Johnson, who is the nurse, and is like, wow, sorry, smoke show.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And the one thing Madeline says, you with your 22-year-old body cannot understand this.
That with your boobs as hard as rocks. I'm like,
yeah, it's like, oh.
No, not good. But then as soon as Chagall comes in, notice the fact that it's all an act. It's all fake too, because she drops her French accent immediately.
Yes. Yeah. The fact that this guy is sort of like, if we compare Lascelles into the devil himself, Chagall is like Azazel or one of the other demons, I would say. Pick one.
Tempting them, yeah.
Yeah, tempting them, luring them in rather than giving them the real thing. They're luring into the master's hold, I would say.
And to be fair, it's actually a brilliant idea, because essentially all it does is it brings in these outrageously wealthy clients, or clients that have the potential to gain or access extreme wealth, to keep this cycle going. Because that's the one thing that you have to ask yourself is, these people are immortal. They have to fade away from the limelight at least a certain point in time. Keanu Reeves.
You shut your mouth.
Or otherwise people are going to realize, wait, they're like 500 years old. What is going on?
So the thing is, the couple kind of hear about the fact that Helen has this book and she does this.
They get the direct invite from Helen, and the fact that like she's reading that, and also they're the great thing in the limo too is just the palpable animosity between Ernest and Madeline when she looks over at him with like, can you just not breathe?
Yes, that is the most cheeky, annoying thing that you could say to I'm out of superlatives on how bad you can say to them. It's like, you annoy me so much, your breathing needs to stop.
Yes. And then they have the good setup and payoff here where Ernest is at the bar and that one woman comes up, Vivian, and asks, like, well, thank you so much for taking care of my aunt and everything. And what's your secret? Like, it's spray paint. And it's the whole big setup where it's like, oh, that's the reason why Madeline's able to look good when she's a walking corpse later.
I do like the reveal though, because we know Helen as this fat slob. So the first image,
the fake out, it's great. It's great.
The first image is this, and it kind of fakes out, and Madeline is like, oh, she's a fat bitch, blah 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 blah. And then the fat lady steps out, and we see this, which is a gorgeous, slim individual, and Madeline's sort of jealousy juices come in.
She's thinking. Well, first she thinks like, I gotta leave.
Yeah, I gotta go.
I have to walk over there. And as she walks over, she's a step away. She's going to turn, like, can't do this. Helen turns around and sees her. Oh, Mads!
And she's like, shit. Well, got caught.
And the whole bit too, where the playoff, which is so like, it's now more of a cliche and more prevalent in a lot of especially like teen dramas and everything, where they have the female quote unquote fake friendship, where this is so blatantly obvious. I never blamed you for Ernest leaving me. No, he left me. And later, I never blamed you. It was her fault. She's a woman, and a woman from Newark, no less.
Yeah, it's like that was a bit random with the Newark part, but okay.
I thought you'd like that because, again, I laughed my ass off because the last time I talked to you about Newark, New Jersey, I was suffering through COVID coming back from PreachCon that one year where I'm like, I think I'm going to die.
Yeah, and I was like, that is a bit random for a movie that we're going to cover, but okay, I got it. It's like, that fat bitch from Long Island. What? What does Long Island have to do with this? I just random. That fat bitch from the Lincoln, Nebraska. What? It's the same thing. But that sort of fake imagery between the two is palpable even at the theater when they meet. Mad, hell, that thing was right from the start. So they were catty from way back in the day, but it just keeps going because of this facade of being, I don't know, polite to each other. Can't find the word.
I don't want the world to know that I'm a bad person, so I'm going to fake I'm being polite and genuine when I'm sabotaging you. Yeah.
The
whole bit with Dakota, which is great. Like, if you're gonna lie to me, can you at least lie faster? I'm trying.
So she is pissed with Helen. She leaves Ernest. She goes to the lover. He's busy at the moment.
Yeah.
And
they're here to fix something. Well, actually, the friend to fix something. And you can actually see the cut of the woman's ass holding a bottle of rum, where it's like,
So she,
there's one bit just as a quick
sure.
Side. One thing that she mentions that is kind of like her like trigger word. Like, some people have a trigger word. Like, a lot of ladies don't like the word moist.
Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. There are people.
For Madeline, it's cheap.
Yeah. Cheap, yeah.
Because she even tells Dakota, what you think I'm cheap?
No, you mean cheap? No, she says that later.
Yeah.
But that point of her crying in the car, being in the rain, real sad imagery and all that.
It's such a super campy bit too, where she's at what we could perceive Madeline at her lowest low, and then the big hit with, I don't know who cued the rain there, but they did it so well where it looks so fake. It's funny as hell because it hits her, and even Meryl Streep is taken by surprise. She goes,
yeah, kind of. And she goes to the house. She's being treated in, and this two buff dudes.
Also, while she's driving, she looks at her reflection in the mirror and scares herself.
But this is her meeting with LaSalle. Now,
and her manservants are Tom, Dick, Harry, and Fred, I think. And I think one of them is clearly Fabio.
Yes,
that's in the pool scene later.
That is Fabio, but it's not this scene. That's later on in the scene.
Yeah.
I want to get to you. We'll do this. Yeah, this is safe. I mean, everything is safe. This is PG, no nudity.
Yes, and in fact, they actually showed shots of this on the late night show with David Letterman. And Isabella Rossellini actually did an interview with him about this. Like, yeah, I literally wore the necklace and a sarong. That's all I wore on set.
Yeah, because to be perfectly fair, and this is me watching the movie, waiting a couple of days, then going into doing the research, because there are moments in there where you see back shots or side shots, and it kind of looks like she's wearing a very thin body suit just around the chest area. And I was like, I remember it looking, maybe because of the video cassette that I had or something. I remember her looking very naked. And
yeah,
this is DVD quality and not 4K, obviously. And you can definitely see creases. And I was like, okay, I guess. And then reading that she didn't really want it to do this nude. And then what you mentioned, the fact that I didn't know it was David Letterman that had that interview, but it said in an interview, she said that she didn't want to get naked. However, she was just wearing that necklace and the sarong. That's it. So I thought, really interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just saw something.
Double-sided tape working a little bit overtime here.
yeah, I guess.
It's a pretty lucky tape too.
Yeah. She is a gorgeous lady.
She is.
Remember, after this movie came out, Friends had that episode where Ross was allowed to sleep with 5 different people, and the first one on the list was Isabella Rossellini.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this after this movie.
And what's so funny too is like, if you wanted to see her naked, you could just watch Blue Velvet, because yeah. There. No.
Anyway, we'll get to that when we get to that. The potion. I want to get to the potion because that is the most interesting part of it. Because, like I said, rewatching this, didn't even think about the whole devil and all that. This is, to me, it's the old what would you do for your soul kind of question. Or what would you sign the dotted line to get riches or youth or whatever it was that you wanted, but you're technically selling your soul to you're technically selling your soul to me. But in certain points in this entire scene, it's very serious. And in others, it's sort of really comedic in a very undertoned
comedic
way.
And very tongue-in-cheek too.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Especially in the ending where she's like, she doesn't want to take it, and then she decides to take it. She drinks it, and it's like, so check. and LaSalle is like, yeah, sure.
No,
I found it hilarious.
No, where she pokes her finger and then uses the drop test on it that Ernest goes through later, where as soon as she sees her hand again, she's like, so do you accept a check? Yes. And that being just finishing that there, what was great in that was as soon as she goes and she's getting ready to leave, she walks in front of the mirror and she sees herself start to de-age, like her butt gets tight, and then her face molds back to her being young again, and then especially her boobs. Now the boob thing is really interesting.
Okay.
Because do you know how they wanted to do that at first?
I know exactly how they wanted to do that. So please tell me.
With a pneumatic bra.
Correct and incorrect.
Yeah.
So they had a pneumatic bra.
Yes.
It did work.
It did work, but it didn't look right for the scene. Yeah.
It didn't look right for the scene. So when Meryl Streep is standing there, just behind her, off camera, I don't know how they did it because I ran through that scene 3 times.
Really, because you can't see any kind of extra bulge moving under that would have been a giveaway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Her assistant is literally pushing her breasts up.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they kind of scratched it off, but it looks really good.
It's seamless. It's great.
It's very seamless.
Yeah.
Not that she had boobs like that when she was young, but whatever. It's the whole point of, because it kind of, again, it's, she said about the rock hard tits from the girl from the spa place.
Yeah.
And now she has rock hard tits.
Well, that her thing too is like she looks at the mirror and looks at the front man. I think his name's Tom. Where she goes, "I'm a girl again," and he looks like,
and he's like, "Shh." Yeah. And there's subtle things in this entire movie that really push me in towards this movie is subtly really good. I've seen you, doll. I've seen you. I can't stop the flow of speech, both on X and on YouTube.
Yep.
All right, cool.
So This is juxtaposed with Helen and Ernest conversation, which I think has to be probably the funniest scene in the entire movie. When after the whole sex thing, it's I have to go, but you just got here. It's like, you're very sexy. I am.
It's
Bruce
really...
Willis playing a befuddled character after we know him for one, being the confident action hero, or two, being the snarky comedic lead who's also kind of an action hero.
I think even if you include Bonfire of the Vanities, which I know you've seen at least once.
Yeah.
He's a totally unique... Ernest for Bruce Willis is a totally unique character that he's never, ever got to play before or since. He was David Addison, and before that, I think he did something in Miami Vice, like a cameo or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I could be mistaken, so don't put mine on the spot here. But he was a TV actor that did a few things and then transferred, did Die Hard, was a big blockbuster thing, did Hudson Hawk later on, did a few other things. He did that stupid erotic thriller movie with Jane March. I don't remember what it's called. It's pretty stupid. Again, he's a different character. He's not like John McClane, but he's definitely not Ernest. And this role
in
is
that movie, he's more kind
unique.
of like film noir, kind of pulp detective sort of character, very gruff around the edges, very hard-boiled. This one, he's hard-boiled, but he is just a pathetic kind of just a shell of a man.
Yeah, he's technically a pathetic loser, but he's also a
brilliant surgeon.
Yeah, he's a brilliant surgeon. He's also a brilliant mortician / makeup artist.
Yeah.
Dude, he is when he does the touch-ups. We'll move a little bit forward.
That's also why this film is so big in the queer community, because it's like all the makeup work.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dahl says Sixth Sense. In the Sixth Sense, he is not a befuddled buffoon that is also a genius. It's really, it's not even close. He's not the action hero. He has a dramatic role, and he's not really comedic. In this movie, he basically becomes a buffoon, but he's also has comedic moments in this. But he's also the guy who eventually has a lot of principles that he won't cross. Because when Helen suggests this, and they go through this motion of she's describing she describes how to kill Madeline, and at the end of the day, he wants to kill Madeline, but he's not gonna make that step.
Even at the end where he is about to kill her, he stops and nearly saves her until he pushes her over the edge, and he does the same.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention just one little fun bit. During the entire conversation, there are two references to Frankenstein in this that are great. Because during the whole setup that Helen has is at the very end where it says like, once they have everything done, it'll be case closed. The file closes, case closed, penned. There's a brain in the jar that says abnormal on it. It's a tie-in to Frankenstein and Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I didn't see it.
Fun.
I didn't see it, but okay. I can maybe try get to that point, but it's really hard because
it would be really difficult.
Sort of it's like
a very
24 frames and we're out.
Yeah.
So it's very subtle, but I get it. So Madeline falls, and Ernest, again, because he's a befuddling buffoon.
Well, actually, she's about to fall, and Ernest could have saved her, but instead she keeps pushing him. So it's like, well, save me, you wimp, and poke. Again, set up and payoff for the very end of the film as well.
Yeah, exactly. And what he does is he calls Helen instead of the cops. And Helen is like, "What? Wait a minute. We just
you dear sweet man."
Yeah. She's annoyed with him, but she's not annoyed with him because she basically got what she wanted, which is revenge on both of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't you understand that the cops know that the first call will be to me? and it's like, oh yeah, that's it. And then you see Helen Madeline rise from the ashes.
The way that they pulled this off back in, was it 1992 when they did it? Like,
yeah,
it's
91 basically
with the work. And then but what's interesting as well is like how this would not work at all today in any way, shape, or form, because they could actually trace the actual call times. And also they would have a direct actual like, oh yeah, by the way, we could actually have the entire thing recorded, so we can just play it back where you just admitted to murdering your wife.
They could have done that back then.
Yeah.
Not to, blow your entire world apart. They could have done that back then. Not to trace the entire call. You can't really trace the entire call. However, you can have timestamps even back then.
Oh, the timestamps.
It's sort of a different method of doing it, but yeah, you could.
Well, the timestamps wouldn't have been that big of an issue. It's just like the actual condemning information of him flat out saying,
"No, you won't be able to do it today. Not on Hardline.
Oh,
on cellular phone, you could.
Pretty sure. Well. Also,
it really doesn't matter because even the whole point is he didn't even call the cops.
Yeah,
there is no murder because she's alive. Not really.
What would have been actually the more interesting is actually if he did call the cops and then found her like that, where it's like, I don't know. She's a miracle of modern science.
I'm sorry I turned off the camera. I really have to pick my nose because it's itchy as hell. So I'm still here. I'm gonna move us a little bit forward.
I was gonna say just the interesting way that ILM was able to utilize not only practical effects, but again, their new proprietary original skin technology for CGI in order to pull this look off, especially as she walks.
Yeah.
With not only that, but again, practical effects with the actual motion work and also with some animatronics. With to be fair, given what we are used to today, it looks very dated. But then it was mind-blowing. And even now, it still doesn't look that bad compared to some modern films that we've seen lately.
Yeah, to be fair, like I said, I don't know, maybe it's because of our age or we kind of grew up with stuff that doesn't look janky sometimes, so we kind of accept it. I will give this movie a leeway, like a long leeway, because maybe not the first scene is not really good in terms of CGI, but the later on where they involve the shovels and all that stuff, where first the head goes back, then it goes into her body, so she has to lift it up a little bit.
With Goldie Hawn sitting back upon the broken spear handle. Yeah,
that one was great.
Handle, yeah.
That one was great, even though the ILM people specifically said, first of all, the most janky effect we had was not actually Madeline, was the shovel through the hole.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was
really? It's the one that you nailed on the head.
Yeah,
literally. But yeah, so Madeline is alive. Her head's twisted, and they go to the hospital. This is one of the darkest comedy bits in the entire movie.
Fantastic.
So Sidney Pollack comes to visit her, comes to find out she is dead.
They're in the ER where he takes her wrist, moves it completely backwards after it started like, this doesn't hurt at all. Yeah. No, it's fine. Okay, let me take a look at your neck. Oh God.
And then of course when she ends up passing out because she fainted, not because she's dead. Ernest goes out to try and find a doctor because Sidney Pollack, the doctor, just left.
He does that, and then
he's looking for another doctor. It's like, what happened to all the doctors? And he goes past the room where the doctor has a heart attack. Sidney Pollack, the doctor, and all the other doctors are trying to revive him. And he goes back into the examination room, and there's another doctor there. And he's like, "Where is she?"
Like,
I'm so sorry.
No, you need to take time. You need to take time to grieve. She's gone. She's passed.
She's passed. What do you mean she's passed? It's like, where is she? In the morgue? She's gonna be furious. I laughed so hard. And this is also so dark.
Another cut line that they got rid of because she was actually supposed to be in the morgue for a longer period of time. Because at one point in time, he was supposed to bring her out, and as he's carrying her out, she's like, obviously they keep corpses cold in the morgue, so water's supposed to be coming off of her. She's like, why is it raining? It's like, no, you're defrosting, dear.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
if you didn't get the whole heaven and hell, the whole heaven and hell imagery that Robert Zemeckis was trying to tell you, it's got Ernest running through three nuns on the way to the morgue. It's like, Ernest, this is a warning for you from up above, or at least some kind of a kismet thing.
Like,
be aware.
Out, man.
Be aware. I just thought it just added to that, to the messaging, mostly to the messaging, rather than just full on, with Lascelles is very subtle. Here, I thought it was very blunt in terms of messaging. Whether or not you're into that sort of thing, that is you. I thought it was it fit, especially because it was very short and it startled Ernest. Remember, there's a moment there when I think Madeline says it, or I don't remember which one of them says it. You're a bald, middle-aged Republican. And I was like,
no, that's
what does that
Madeline
have to do with
trying to threatening him with going to prison?
Oh, yeah. To make him stay and keep them touched up. It comes up later, but I thought it was funny.
So trying to get rid of Helen's body, because that's, we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, from after this, though, when they're in the morgue, again, his whole bit, like, he sees the nuns, takes it as the opposite sign, whereas the first one, like, it's a miracle.
I don't think so.
You're missing the signs. and again, Madeline's still like, but why did it have to happen to me? It's great.
You drank that potion, bitch.
It's great. It's so great.
We have to move forward.
I know. In between there, we have them returning home with Helen sneaking in and out.
I want to get to this, and then we'll do the confrontation, the really interesting one.
It's
where
great.
It's a full on. I would think it's a short little montage within the movie, because it kind of teaches you where Ernest's head is at, where he's trying to get the same skin tone to make it fit. He's like, he wants to touch up her makeup so it will be permanent. And he's telling, I told you not to move, and she moves because she's Madeline.
Yeah.
And all the bits and pieces. And he's really meticulous in his work because he's just that kind of a meticulous person.
Well, he was a surgeon. He was a plastic surgeon. He's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
By nature.
And of course, once Helen reaches the house, he's like, he doesn't want to even talk to her. But he does confess to some things while Helen is right there listening to them. And as Helen goes down below, she is
the only thing I would have found more interesting is if, when Madeline put her nails down, if one of her nails would have broken and fell, like completely came off.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's more dark humor there.
I mean,
but we have that, and we have Helen and Ernest talking about how they need to go to Death Valley and bury her body, and then when Madeline comes downstairs, this is a second reference to Frankenstein because Helen looks up and goes, "It's alive."
Yeah. Now, this shot is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did this because making the hole as a CGI thing, it's fine. She just stands there and she has a green or blue material on her costume. I get it. How did they make it so, first of all, it's 3D. That's a little bit difficult, but getting the background the same.
And it also it moves in as she transitions from scene to scene. It moves with her. Yeah, the ILM, again, one of their proprietary thing for this movie.
I thought just for that, it's amazing. After she gets up, starts to talk, the important bit is she recognized the pin because we didn't mention it before, but once Madeline drinks the potion, because we don't see Helen drink the potion. Once Madeline drinks the potion, Lascelles gives her that pin as she looks at the pin, and she looks at the pin before she goes out. We see it, and then she sees it on Helen, and Helen recognized it on Madeline, and they're like, "You talked to her, you drank the potion," and Ernest is like, "What potion?"
Well, you got the potion, and I love just the absolute just flabbergasted expression from Bruce Willis, which is like, "I don't think this is a miracle at all."
Again, Bruce Willis had great lines in there, but he is not any other character he's ever acted before. Which is
it's
awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. And how snarky they are still, where they're like, "You're both immortals. You know this. You can't die."
And they have that shovel fight.
The shovel fight, which is one of the many mishaps that happened on set. Poor Goldie Hawn.
Oh, she got cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
By mistake.
During one of the shovel fights, one of it swoops out and just nicked her face.
It's really hard to get a good shot. I love the fact that they
keep holding her head up,
yeah,
because it got broken.
Yeah,
180 degrees, and they got set all the way back,
then,
so she has to hold her head up because literally there's no vertebrae there to hold it together.
Exactly, and on the other side, I have to remove this for a second. The other side is Helen sitting around with a protruding shovel within the hole. Now, this is not the better shot. There's a shot where you see the hole itself and the shovel handle.
So the funniest part about that, when she breaks it while they're fighting and she throws it, it goes right through the hole right there. And Madeline goes, "Yes. Oh, no."
Again, with the light comedy. But then they realize something. They're both immortal, and they both need some help. And who's the only guy who can help them? Poor Ernest. I love it because he threw these scalpels at the start of the movie after he drank the Bloody Mary, and you see him take the board off the wall with these two menacing shadows coming in, and he uses the board as a shield, like a Captain America shield, to shield himself from these two bitches. But he knows he is screwed. He knows he is screwed.
Just as an interlude too, where while they're downstairs, the two of them, Helen and Madeline, actually reconcile over the fact of, well, you slighted me, but I only slighted you because you slighted me first.
Yeah.
And at the end, they end up apologizing to each other, where they end up back to actually where they could have been when they were teenagers. Had they just had an open dialogue to begin with, none of this shit would have happened.
And this is the moment where Madeline says, "You always thought I was cheap."
Cheap. Yeah.
And that's why I stole all your boyfriends. And they kind of confess their crimes. And yeah, like you said, they could have had it before, but because they're two catty women, maybe they kind of deserve what they got.
And you go, well, maybe they were just bad people to begin with.
Yeah, that's what.
Not even catty women; they were just bad people. Because I know a lot of guys that are they're pricks that are just like that. So
thank God I do know pricks like this, but they're not as rich as those two gals.
That's fair.
So before we do our second game, I love this next scene where it kind of transitions into they're both touched up and they're talking to each other, but
so like,
they've
say
got
what
something.
you want about Ernest.
Yeah,
the man is a genius. Yeah, like,
exactly.
Well, but we have to let him go. But wait, we're gonna need him if what happens to us? What if we need touch-ups? Well, but what if he dies? Oh, we'll take him.
And the whole point is they wanted him to touch them up, and he said, "I'll do it, but once I'm done, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Up, don't ask about me. I'm gone."
Yeah, I'm gone. So when they decided the next day that they need him for touch-ups, it's like, "We've brought you some breakfast."
Oh, we got you breakfast. And his rants as he's leaving is mwah.
It's chef's kiss.
So good. And he's sloshing it around, throwing it around. And then
this is out of I don't know, I've seen it only in like French movies like this. Like an Alain Delon movie that you have a something that is I think I want to say my professor, but it's basically my teacher for a cinema school back in high school. One of the things he taught us was like, if you want to have a good opposite things together in a movie, this is one of those things where you have a moving object that your eye goes to focus on.
Yeah.
But you also in the background hear a very important speech. Either it's exposition dump or something interesting. This is that scene. Yep. Now, he didn't tell us about that scene. He actually taught us about something like a French film. I don't remember what it was. It was an Alain Delon movie. I don't remember which one it was. But it's holding a piece of moving object, and it has action to it. So the cup, because he keeps talking and he throws half of it away or swirls it so it gets spilled out, and the concentration is solely on that object, is a very smart way of filmmaking.
Great line of delivery, and that and the most important thing too is the closing bit. And also, I drink too much, so he pours out the rest of it. So then, I think it's Madeline first hits him with the vase, and his first reaction is hello.
And then Helen hits him with another one as well.
And there.
And there. All right. Cool. Now, we'll do our second game of the night. I have to rearrange a few things here and there. Bish, bosh, boosh, even Chris Bosh. All right. Cool. You know what time it is. It is time for Screen Fighter.
Round 1. Fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pin them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good, or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Friday evening, Saturday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Ba-bam, ba-boom. Boys in the Hood or Braveheart? Do you want freedom or freedom?
Because the boys in the hood are always hard.
Boys in the Hood?
Trash and we'll pull your car. No, nothing in life but to be legit. Don't quote me.
Now, we covered one of them. and we didn't cover the other one. Not for any particular reason.
No, I think Mel Gibson did an amazing job at directing Braveheart, but the actual adaptation of William Wallace's life, wrong.
Yeah. I would go with Boys in the Hood, personally. By the way, chat, you can definitely say which one do you want, and it really, well, it does matter at the end because there's two of us here, and you might be the deciding voice.
By the way, for me quoting Eazy-E, I'm sorry, it was terrible.
Yeah, I know. It is Boys in the Hood. Friday the 13th Part 2 or Happy Feet.
Friday the 13th Part 2. That's the first one with actual Jason in it.
There is no question.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, original Frankenstein. Now, if you say I haven't seen it, I am going to kick you. Or
what?
Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I would assume that you've seen the original Frankenstein.
I have seen the original Frankenstein.
I of course I've seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but I can't pick neither.
It's not the best. Frankenstein is not the best. It's just the first.
No, it's such a fucking slow burn. It is. I mean, even Nosferatu moves at a quicker pace. The original Nosferatu.
Yeah. Have you seen the? I haven't even sent you the link. I need to send you that link. So which one?
I guess I'll have to give it to you for a Bond film this one time.
I don't like that Bond film at all.
I know.
But I would rather watch it than Frankenstein, to be fair.
Even though, like, Frankenstein, again, it was one of those films you have to watch at one point in time in your life because it's like...
If you're into movies and you want to broaden your horizons and not go into...
Especially horror films, yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna broaden your horizons with movie making and how even all the monsters kind of progressed from where they were into what became of them, Frankenstein should be on the list. But be warned. Now, this is interesting. Bright, which was a Netflix exclusive, and Amadeus.
Now,
again, not an accurate portrayal of Amadeus, but
no, not in any way, shape, or form. Although they did get his death right.
Yeah, kind of.
Because he did die in a pauper's grave. Amadeus, I think, by far is one of the most fun musical history films that has ever been made. Is it accurate? No. There's a lot, especially like the actual rivalry between him and Salieri did not really happen.
Yeah, it was a bit overblown. Yeah,
but I will just say that Amadeus is actually one of the films that was my middle school, which is like 6th, 7th grade, so like 12, 13-year-old, basically, orchestra teachers. He showed us scenes from Amadeus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Amadeus. I would rather watch Amadeus.
I love Amadeus, but I'm going to pick Bright.
Go for it. Yeah.
I know that it's a Netflix film. It's not a theater film, so it's really hard to, it's sort of like, what would you go for, a theater film or a straight-to-DVD film? Bright is definitely a straight-to-DVD film.
And also, I think I only watched half of it, and it was basically like an adaptation if fictional characters existed in our world. So like his partner's an orc, and they were fairies.
Yeah, it takes the idea of alienation, where in Alienation, aliens kind of crash landed into Earth or reached Earth but couldn't go back. And now they have to integrate with society. But instead of aliens, it's actually fairy tale creatures that crossed. They don't even say how they did it. I think they crossed dimensions or something. And now they have to integrate with society, but they're kept into this remedial work. But the bad guys are like, we want to be like the dominant species, sort of a thing, through a weird buddy cop movie.
All right.
You definitely should watch Bright if you haven't, or at least finish it if
I'll
you
finish
didn't.
it. Yeah.
It's not the best. I'm gonna pick Bright. The crowd says Amadeus, even though Scotty, my boy, says Bright was awesome. It was awesome. It's really hard for me to pick Bright over Amadeus, but that's my pick. I'm gonna click Amadeus for all the chat. U571.
We talked about U571 the other week. Oh my God.
Or Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I think that was the original one. I'm not sure.
No, I think it's the third or fourth.
Third or fourth?
Yeah.
Well, if it's not the original one, I'm going to go with U571, even though I don't think it's a great movie.
I would actually watch the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh because U571. I actually fell asleep in the theater watching it. I was so fucking bored.
I didn't even watch it in the theater. I watched it on a DVD.
That movie is so boring.
Yeah, it's like you want to see another like Red October, but it's definitely not.
Yeah. It's just like no, no. That I would watch Das Boot over U571 any day of the week.
Fine. Chat says Winnie the Pooh. All right. We'll do a couple more. America's Sweethearts or My Sex Life or How I Got Into an Argument.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That first one is actually really, really fucking funny. It's really good. You'd actually
French film?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fucking funny.
I will put it on my list. I have not seen that one.
Oh, well, this is okay. We're done. Departed.
Departed. Yeah. I've not seen The Temptress. I'm pretty sure you have. Okay,
Ooh.
This is a good one. Gothica or The Last King of Scotland? Is the German poster. Yeah. Come on, give me a choice. Scotty says Last King of Scotland. Do you want me to start?
Yeah. That's it. You shoot.
I will go to The Last King of Scotland just for the performance.
Yes.
I don't think Halle Berry did a good job in Gothica. I think it didn't really fit her. I don't know what it was. Gothica is an okay movie, but also The Last King of Scotland is an okay movie. I understand it won Oscars, blah, 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 blah. The best part of The Last King of Scotland is Forrest Whitaker's performance as Idi Amin. He got him down to a T. If you ever seen an interview with Idi Amin or that sort of a context, he got him to a T. I'll give him that for that. They're both okay movies. They're not bad. They're not good.
Now, I wholeheartedly agree, most specifically just because of Whitaker's performance, but also for Gothica, all Halle Berry had to do was wait, what, 1 year or a year and a half for her to play in Monsters Ball, like that, because that movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
all right, cool. That'll be it for that. I'm going to do this, and I will give my criticism just for a second. Criticism about the pacing of this particular movie.
Shoot. Excuse me.
The whole point of them having the fight, remember, the main poster is the trio of them side by side with Bruce Willis in the middle, with him holding a candelabra through Goldie Hawn's belly, her open belly, which is a kind of a giveaway.
Yeah, that's a very big, giant spoiler alert in a poster. Yeah.
But if you haven't even heard anything about the movie, it's a very interesting, action-y thing to put on your poster, right? As a promotion for your film. You want to know, wait a minute. Is she alive? Is she dead? Is she a ghost? What is she exactly? And you wait for it for the entire movie, and then the whole shotgun thing happens, and you're like, wait, so what's going on from here? And from this moment up to the end of the movie is about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
25 minutes. And the whole point is they knock out, they don't kill Ernest. They knock him out with 2 vases. He falls down the stairs, but he doesn't die. And he wakes up in Lascelles' mansion.
In the pool room. And also, for someone to be knocked out for that long, I'm no brain scientist.
I am no brain surgeon.
All I'm saying is, if you're knocked out for more than 5 minutes, you probably have severe brain damage.
Can't show this because there's an
can't show a lot of that, but we do have the whole bit here in the
okay,
pool
I can show
scene
this. I can show this.
where that's actually a body double. That's the body double.
Yes. Who is the body double?
Oh, I forgot her name. I had it written down.
This is Jag's Catherine Bell.
Catherine Bell, yeah.
Also the anchor in Bruce Almighty that he half falls for, not really.
That's, well.
She had, well, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
Let's just say she had a Madeline moment in her life. We'll put it that way.
Very not good.
Very not good. Bell's palsy moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is a shame, really. But it happens.
But
so
we can, if you get close enough, you can get to the shot where you can actually see Fabio.
I'm trying to get to the shot where you see Fabio.
There's several different shots, but especially the one where he's kneeling down. Well, he's in the back there.
That's him in the background.
Yeah.
It's like, that's him in the background.
Fabio. And that's Isabella Rossellini there.
Yeah, for sure. Once she puts on the robe and she turns around, that's her. Yeah.
Is it Isabella Rossellini? Like I had no problems with showing the back shot, but I didn't think I was statuesque enough in order to play this immortal being.
Isn't her and Catherine Bell sort of the same height?
Catherine Bell's only like 1.5 inches taller than her.
So it's weird because what you see an ass, I guess. And
that's really about it. And her side frame. I mean, like there's no full frontal.
No. I don't think Zemeckis likes nudity in his movies that much. Like even in Forrest Gump, it's in like the background and it's blurred.
Yeah. Well, but also too, like it's the way that. Well, for the character that Isabella is portraying, her almost being nude is kind of playing off her almost like temptress persona, the way that she's bringing people in by like, I'm over 70 years old and look at me.
She is, if she's not the devil, she's definitely playing into the Jezebel persona, the temptress kind of persona. Slanesh-y.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of
big old Slanesh vibes over here.
It's sort of that same vibe.
Well, it's very interesting that they make potions for she who thirsts.
Yes, she who thirsts. And she offers Ernest, and you mentioned this before, the old prick of the finger, mirroring the fact that looking at the 2 hands and having the same effect, and he has a more connection to his hands than Madeline, because Madeline looks at it as the youth. He's looking at the hands because he was a surgeon, and now his good hand is not shaking because of the alcohol.
Yeah,
and Sander, it's fine, dude.
It's fine.
Just
And also, we already covered Team America. Get with it, Gary.
Yeah, go and watch Gary. That's fine. That's okay.
Yeah,
I'm
he's a good guy. Good
He's a
people.
good guy. Yeah. And him having that moment, and this is why actually the whole movie, I didn't even think about the whole devil and devil incarnate and the devil and the deal kind of thing. The difference, and I thought about it a lot, the difference between God and Satan is God gives you a choice. Satan tells you, you have to do this. And this is what pushes Ernest, because he's a different kind of a being, as opposed to Helen and Madeline. He's not chasing anything. He's
that's when he actually gets when it gets basically up to the one line where you can live forever, and she actually says it in, I think it was in French. Live forever.
Sempre vida.
Sempre vida. Well, that would be in
Latin
then. But anyway, when it said, he was like, well, why would I want to live forever? Who would I spend my time with? He's doing all of the math in his head that no one else is doing anyway.
He asked the most important question. Why would I want to live forever?
Because he poses the actual pertinent question when it comes to immortality, where everyone you love will die except for you. And so what will you do with your life then? What will you do with your time?
And the other thing is, and that's the most important thing, the two people he hates, he would have to share his life with.
To work with them forever.
And that's something he really doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to do it for 5 minutes, let alone forever.
I mean, the only good thing, like, he would be able to, again, the potion, again, would restore his capabilities to become the surgeon that he once was. Mm-hmm. But how could he have any kind of medical practice whatsoever, except for those that are in this sphere? Because he obviously can't actually have another medical practice, because why are you 185 years old, Doc?
Exactly. And to be fair, he won't be doing any plastic surgery. He will be relegated to doing the mortuary
work
rather than a full-on being a plastic surgeon. So it doesn't really matter where he got the skills or not. He is relegated to doing the other skills that he really doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
So he gets to, I want to say, come to Jesus moment, but that's too much on the nose. I love send in the hounds.
Oh, the dobies. Oh, dobies are good boys. Oh, there's a good boy.
I don't hate dogs. I never liked that breed. I prefer a Rottweiler to a Doberman.
Yeah, I prefer Rotties too, because I grew up with Rotties, but Dobies, they're good puppies too.
Fine. If you say so. Hey,
I'm
not going to knock it out.
Back to the Snoop Doggy Dog video where they had terrible transition where Snoop Dogg was a Dobie.
Shut up. I've seen that video this week. I'm not even going to lie.
Oh, wow. This week? Okay. Fair enough.
I heard about the Trump controversy. Didn't give a fuck at all. But like, Snoop, man, I have to go back to Snoop. And it was like, Snoop Dogg. Now I have to watch that video again. It's a good video. So he tries to get away and gets himself.
We did mention that they go to the party where Chagall kind of introduces and had the big joke about Elvis, and then we actually see the various people that have quote unquote died.
Yeah,
that are still there.
I just skipped over it because we kind of talked about it.
Yeah, but we eventually get Ernest on the roof trying to get away, where I'm like, also, buddy, where the hell do you think you're going?
Yeah, why go up? You have to go down and out.
Again, because I'm thinking the same as I think, like, every single time I watch a horror film, now that you know this, it's gonna drive you nuts. After it's like, Final Girl, why do you go upstairs? Why do you go upstairs? Why?
Ever since we covered Scream, it bothers me to
told
no
you, man.
I know.
Once you know, it's like a thing that it's a fact that you can't unlearn. Like it'll just.
Anyway, this is the moment we kind of realize, I don't want to be with both of you forever, kind of a deal. I would rather die.
Basically, they almost get him to the point where convincing him that he wants to live, so to drink the potion. But then again, it's their needling and prodding where he goes, no, you know what? Fuck it.
Fuck you too. And he drops it, and then he drops down, and he goes into the pool.
They go into the pool, and if you can get that shot of just that one Jim Morrison impersonator, it's fantastic.
I'm trying. I didn't even think it was Jim Morrison.
Yeah, it's Jim Morrison, but it's okay if you can't get it. It's not a big deal.
It's so hard to do. Oh, there we go.
It's just really fun. There, that's Jim Morrison. That's Riders on the Storm right there.
I don't know. To me, it looks like somebody else. I just forgot the name. It's a band with 3 people, 2 guys and a lady, and the one guy looks exactly like that. Their famous song is I Crucify. I don't remember the name of the band, but he looks exactly like that. But whatever. Anyway, Jim Morrison, good. And then when he goes out, you have that moment where I said he steals the car from James Dean.
Which is great.
That car, the car he died in from James Dean. And I thought, man, that car is fucking phenomenally good. It's so good.
It's a gorgeous car.
Scary car to drive in, but it's so good. It's a Porsche something. Don't remember. But it's a really nice car.
I think it's one of the Top Gear guys bought one of the actual originally body models of that, and they're getting it recreated.
Really?
I think it's Richard Hammond's doing that. But
anyway, so
now we're seeing
Madeline and Helen have that moment after they go out. And it's like, who's gonna touch us up? And it's like, okay, I'm gonna spray your ass, and you're gonna spray my ass.
Can you imagine us? Who would have thought us ending up together? Us having to paint each other's asses, and they both laugh with this almost sad melancholy with the state of affairs, where it's like, yeah, you deserve it. So
it's the spider,
Spider, yeah.
It has a number, but I forgot it too. Maybe a 931, a 913, one of those numbers. 582. Porsches are weird.
I know it's not a 911, so
it's not a 911. No. It's an early model. It's 55, 53, 52, 55. One of them. Yeah. So, cut to 37 years later. So,
which is odd because in the original that one cut with Tracy Ullman, it was only 27 years later because they were still alive when they saw them.
So, just think about the timeline. The timeline is the show where Helen and Ernest show up for Madeline's show is 1978. 12 years later is 1990. 37 years later is 2027.
Yeah, so essentially, at the book signing, Helen was supposed to be 50. I don't know if that was a snide remark or not.
No, they mentioned the fact that Ernest was married to Madeline for 12 years. 12 years of marriage.
Oh, no. I just meant that there's a quick aside at the book signing where 2 of the ladies, Vivian and one other lady, is asking, was like, how old is she? She looks great. And Madeline says, she's 50.
Yeah. Putting Ernest at around 50?
Yeah.
Which means he's about 87 years
which
old
means
when he
that
died.
he had what? He had a son and 4 daughters, and then he adopted a whole bunch of kids and
yeah, and did a lot of. He had a complete second life at 50, which for men, it's not that big of a problem.
Well, even the priest said, well, his whole mantra was life begins at 50.
Yeah.
And he said, he was also such a storyteller. Remember how he told all the stories about the undead that are living in Beverly Hills? And it's like,
yeah. And like I said, it's Robert Zemeckis's underlying criticism or truth telling. You never know, but it's sort of looking at his own people. Basically, what he sees at his Hollywood parties. He's been to all the good ones because he's friends with Spielberg. So, yeah, Anyway, the real important bit is that
Madeline and Helen still just catty bitches back and forth in the background. And about the whole fight over the acrylic. And you can already see, like, again, this is also why it's really, really big in the queer community, because it's like, yeah, that's a bad drag queen makeup right there. Her eyebrow is 1.5 inches too high.
Yeah, and when they walk even funny, especially when they go down the stairs. They walk really funny. Now, both of them walk, literally, they both have 2 different silly walks.
Yes.
And it's a small little detail, but only if you're like, that's really interesting. I thought it was interesting. And then, of course, they fight over the spray paint. That
they're arguing about, you had the acrylic in the spray paint in your purse. I put it in your purse. She accidentally dropped it.
And then it drops them.
And Helen nearly is about to fall, going back to the original scene when Madeline fell down the stairs. Like, help me, my legs can't work. And Madeline's about to push her, so Helen grabs her hands, and they fall apart. And they were arguing too, like, has it ever worked when you ask me, do you remember where you forgot something?
Yeah.
And at the end, the last line is, do you remember where we parked?
Exactly. And that is a perfect way to end that movie.
It's great.
It's when you see the fucking scraggly fucking makeup. It's a perfect comedic way of finishing this, because this is, again, super, super dark.
And it's also perfect karmic justice, which is why, like, if this was a Tales from the Crypt sequel, it would make sense. So, like, because Tales from the Crypt is all about karmic justice in the multitudes of their vast category. It's all about someone who deserves comeuppance gets theirs in the end. And this was fantastic.
Anyway, I'm really glad we covered this because it's something from Robert Zemeckis that he hasn't really done. He hasn't really done dark comedies, right? Not that I remember.
Not really. There are dark comedic elements in his films, but nothing that is a pure dark comedy. Like, this is black humor.
Yeah. And it kind of fits with kind of what we did last month, where in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a little bit of dark humor, and Smoking Ace is a little bit dark humor. It kind of fits
and
with
Scanner Darkly.
that.
There's dark humor.
Scanner Darkly has dark humor in it, so it kind of fits. From here on out, a little less dark humor.
There's a lot of sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, a lot of sunshine and rainbows. Absolutely love this movie. I'm gonna start actually scripting the review for it. I hope it'll come out Monday. Have lots of stuff to do, but hopefully. And there's a few movies that I've done that I haven't watched in 2024 that I'm looking forward to just finishing up, clearing the desk for February. One is Nosferatu. Still, I technically have seen it. Conclave.
It's good though.
Conclave. And that's about it from the stuff that I really wanted to watch, but I didn't watch. And Conclave is with Isabella Rossellini. So I hope Death Becomes Her and Conclave comes out the same week, but I'm not sure if that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
but we'll see. All right. So any last words for this movie?
No, I would say like if you're a fan of, well, obviously, if you're a fan of the drag community, this film you'll love it. If you're a fan of dark comedies, you'll love this. If you're a fan of horror, you'll love this. If you're a fan of Meryl Streep, you'll love this.
Yeah.
It's overall, it's again, it's soup to nuts. What, it's 140 minutes, excluding
An
credits.
hour 40, but with credits, blah blah blah. Yeah, 135, I would say.
It's a
Maybe-
super fast.
maybe
watch.
137. Yeah.
It's an absolute blast. So
Yeah, and it moves. It doesn't
It's
bog
very,
down
very
with some
quick.
stuff. It keeps
Yeah.
moving. It always has the. You said horror. It has that horror elements in them throughout when there's no talking and everything, and it just keeps you on the rails all the time, which is great because you don't want to be bogged down with stupid exposition stuff. You don't need it.
Yep.
You absolutely don't need
you
it.
don't need
just
exposition dumps in a film that's supposed to only be an hour 35. You don't.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right. Next up on the agenda, something a little bit more fun. A bit of squashbuckling, if you say. Not really, but squashbuckling enough.
Did you swash? You mean
Swashbuckling.
squash?
I said squash?
Squash? Yeah.
Swashbuckling. Squashbuckling, maybe. Anyway, next week, ladies and gentlemen, pick up Romancing the Stone. 1984, Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito in their first encounter, because there are 3 of them.
And it was
One
the
of
other one
them-
the other one that I can never remember is War of the Roses.
War of the Roses, but that's the last one of them.
Yes.
All right, so Romancing
Also,
the Stone.
Kathleen Turner has her best cover band ever. It's Kathleen Turner Overdrive.
Okay, cool. Romancing the Stone is next up for next week. So from us to you, guys, remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week. Oh, and you're going to be redirected to Gary's stream, so enjoy yourselves. You're still here? It's over.